Number three on this list
Those
is
first two
very
things are
simple
things
advice, but
that
very
carry over from
effective
Virtual Fighter.
advice, very much. And all Koreans told me this. More patience.
This
And
is
this
the
is
one.
less about pressing much less and more about when to press. For example, you've probably seen Knee and JDCR play before. They're super good at placing their jabs in the neutral to keep your offense from going ham. And the reason they do this is because the jab is the easiest way to keep you out in the neutral. And what I did that makes me really vulnerable to these kinds of players is I tended to check a lot with either 1-1 or down 4-4, since 1-1 starts tracking really well at
What happened? Video? Video!
you for trying to counter the elect time to time. Also at his place while I was in Korea. He would always implement small steps while he would keep
This is
up
what
his
I was
offense
trying to do.
against Double. So like he would constantly bully me in my face, do small side steps,
Dude has like 4K
and
subs.
try to create
Fucking
as many
fire-ass
risks as
content.
possible. And just a small step block can make my health sweep, for example. If not for him doing like
I mean, that was me like
jab to keep me from
month,
even
like
doing
2
slow
weeks ago,
moves,
actually.
and
But
even back forward two
damn.
when step blocking just gets blocked.
It's fire content.
So it's
Literally
this
was
kind
me
of
like a
stuff
month
that
ago.
makes it really
Three
difficult for me
weeks
to
ago.
check these kinds of players, and that's when I realized, okay, I need to run away more with Devilgen and try to play out the
Let's watch that
neutral more
again.
instead of trying
Like
to win.
this was the best part.
Number three on this list is very simple advice, but very effective advice, very
Yes.
much. And all Koreans told me this. More patience. And this is less about pressing much less and more about when to press.
I don't understand.
For
this.
example, you've probably seen Knee and JDCR play before. They're super good at placing their jabs in the neutral to keep your offense from going ham. And the reason they do this is because the jab is the easiest way to keep you out in the neutral. And what I did that makes me really vulnerable to these kinds of players is I tended to check a lot with either 1-1 or down 4-4, since 1-1 starts tracking really well.
See, this was really helpful to have him tell you what he was doing that was getting him blown up, and what they were doing to fuck him up for it. Because like I wouldn't have thought 1-1 would be bad or back 4 would be bad either. I don't inherently see those as risky options, but he's just describing how the riskiness of that comes from jab. And I'm like, what? Really? Jab shuts all that down? What?
Well, at certain minus frames, and well, they immediately caught up to that and they started ducking and launching my 1-1s a lot, for example, or they would step block my down 4-4, since it's much easier to step block in this game.
Down forward
So
4 it is.
checking in general in Tekken 8 is more difficult because sidestep alone was buffed, like it's more evasive. It's side walking that wasn't really touched in this game. So step blocking, for example, Osan would, when I played against Osan, I was also at his place while I was in Korea. He would always implement small steps while he would keep up his offense against Devilgen. So like he would constantly bully me in my face, do small side steps, and try to create as many lists as possible. And just a small step block can make my health sweep, for example. If not for him doing like jab, sidestep jab to keep me from even doing slow moves, and even back forward two when step blocking.
You hear that? You hear that? Step jab to stop him from even doing slow moves. So it's a way to safely stop and stuff slow moves from coming out, and you might step something. So like, you can step way more often in this game than I'm used to. In VF, you can't step like that. You'll get fucking bodied for it. But in this game, you can step over and over and over and over again, and you kind of are encouraged to.
Just gets blocked. So it's this kind of stuff that makes it really difficult for me to check these kinds of players, and that's when I realized, okay, I need to run away more with Devilgen and try to play out the neutral more instead of trying to win interactions up close. But that's something I've said about Devilgen really early already, that it's one of his big flaws, that up close this character doesn't do much anymore really. Something that I want to learn in the next few days is to consistently confirm this in the neutral, which may be a bit hard, but after a jab, and if someone retaliates into practice. I need to practice a lot these next few days. And again, it's very common for Koreans to give up their plus frames, for example, maybe +8 after a jab. And if someone retaliates into you, instead of pressing a frame trap that can be countered, for example, you could maybe power crush this, or I don't know,
Power crush.
any other option that could beat it again.
I've been wondering how you handle like frame traps because you have power crush. Exactly, I keep getting power crushed.
Maybe lag Sabaki on another character. Instead of going for frame traps, which they do go for from time to time, obviously, for a counted launch. Most of the time, they just gave up their plus frames and backdashed and then immediately recognized a whiff or retaliation. Just used their plus frames to whiff punish you, essentially.
So place the plus frames are, that's why the jab down 2 into AOP, duck, that's why it's powerful on hit. Because it only really works, a lot of those AOP, like back turn, cancel in the AOP crouching states, those things really only work on hit. But I was like, why would I ever want to do that on hit? Because like I have frames. Why wouldn't I just want to frame trap them? I'm just giving up my frames. This is why. Because at the higher levels of play, you don't always use your frames. Because you want to make things whiff. And AOP can back turn state cancel into AOP ducking sidestep is how you one of the ways in which you can create a whiff.
Giving up your plus frames like that is not dumb because eventually people will think, oh, okay, he's not taking his plus frames. Let me press into him. And then realize, oh, you're already up launched in the air because they intentionally gave up their plus frames in order for exactly for you to press into them. Or like, in other words, smash into them. Number 4 on this list. More back forward 2 for locking opponents down. And this was advice from Lowhigh specifically. It's kind of obvious advice, but Devilgen's tracking options aren't necessarily the best. Up forward 2 is very slow, and 1+2 is just not that good of a move at -12 and having no cancel. That move was way stronger near the wall, and Tekken 7 was probably one of the best homing moves, if not the best
That can
homing move
remind you
at the
of
wall back in the
boxing.
day.
Yeah, a few of us like this too.
So you find
be,
yourself having a lot of trouble
to be
conditioning
fair,
your
it's a matter of
opponent
how
when
do I
whiffing
do it in this
from
game.
stepping
This is
there.
how.
And the character's strength in general boils down to conditioning
Skip.
in the neutral. You got like, so go for this is to, and go for a single back forward 2 and conform it into a back forward this a lot the next few days again.
Skip that.
At the very end of my visit to DRX studios, like on the second day, very late into the evening, I asked Nee for some advice that he would give me specifically, since, well, there's not much advice he would give me for the way I play Devilgen, since I do play him very optimally, but more some advice on what I'm doing wrong with the character. It's, well, to paraphrase it a bit, Nee said I'm taking the easy way out with Devilgen by mostly using 1-1 as my high option. And 1-1 is super susceptible to getting ducked and launched or step to the right and then launched. But most of the time, the Koreans would just stay ducked. They would dash in my face and then duck for the potential 1-1 keep out.
Dash in their face and duck. That's the moral of the story. Dash in their face and duck. That's what I was trying to do today. All right, everybody. I'm going to raid somebody else and send you off to have fun with people because I am going to go hang out with my dad. Who am I going to raid to? Who am I sending it to? Poly peeling. I'm going to send to my teammate Bushido.
File 100% free with TurboTax Free Edition.
Because he needs it.
37% of
He needs it.
taxpayers qualify.
He deserves it.
Form 1040 and limited credits only. See how at turbotax.com. That's me.
You do.